What's up, everyone? You made it to Friday. Welcome to the Friday Live with Lauren show. That's me. I'm Lauren. I'm your host. If you haven't been here before, thank you for tuning in. If you have been here before, which I'm assuming most of you have, welcome back. Today's show is going to be so much fun. We have a phenomenal guest joining us. I know I say that every week, but I feel like every week it just gets better and better. So, thank you to everybody who agrees to come on this show with me. You guys are the reason that everybody shows up. Today, I have somebody who I've been connected with on LinkedIn for so long. We have been friends in the DMs, friends in his show quite a time, or two, or three, or four, or five. He does a lot of lives. And I'm just always in awe of how well he does and how much support he gets. He did the audio events, he's done live events. And I'm just so thankful he's going to be on the show with us today. So give me 1 second. I'm going to bring Felipe out. While I talk about that, I would love it if you would share the show. I don't know how nice LinkedIn is being to me these days. I don't know if they're telling you I went live or not. So please, please, please share the show. Tell someone we're live. We are going to talk about interviews today. We are going to talk about so many things. We're going to talk about AI. I know that's a big buzzword going around. We're going to talk about EQ. Is it more important than IQ? I don't know. We're going to talk about so much stuff. So share the show. Let people know that we are live. And as always, you can ask questions in the chat. We are here to help you. If you don't ask questions, we can't answer them. So ask the questions during the show. Share the show. And without further ado, let me introduce to you Felipe Cofino. Hey, Felipe.
Hey, Lauren, how are you? Thanks for having me on your show.
I am so excited to have you on the show today. I am stoked. I think that this is going to be a phenomenal conversation. We already have some people showing up in the comments. We got Chris Jarvis. I sent you the reminder that we were going live. I got you. If anybody ever needs a reminder, just let me know. We got Meryl in the house. What's up, Meryl? Excited to have you here from New Jersey. And we got Chasen. I hope I said that correctly. He said hello to Felipe. So, hi, everyone joining. Let people know that we're here. Oh, we got Christy Williams in the house too. Here we go. Here we go from Florida, like me. And then we got live Omar here to support Felipe. Woo, 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 woo. We got Cassandra Rosen in the house. We got so many cool people. I just met Cassandra in person last week. All right, Felipe, before we get into all the fun topics, please tell me, who is Felipe Cofino?
Well, Felipe Cofino is a very scary person sometimes, I think. No, I've been a very passionate HR professional for 3 decades. I've been an HR executive, and it's one of those things where when I got my first job outside of being a locksmith, was my very first job, was hospitality. And I got into it because all my friends were getting hospitality majors. I'm like, what if you don't like working in hotels? Like, oh, we will. I'm like, I'm going to go the business route, but I'm going to get a job at a hotel and see if I like it. Well, I loved it. I stayed. None of them got jobs in hotels, and they all have hospitality majors now, which is kind of funny. But the reason I share that is because I got into hospitality, and from there, I saw what this one HR director was doing, and I said, you know what? I respect how you do things, and you aren't overly politically correct. You just call a spade, and you're trying to make the workplace better. And so he just inspired me to follow his lead, got into HR, and spent 23 years in hospitality with Hyatt Hotels, which was the best thing that could have ever happened to my career because they taught me how to do everything right, compliance-wise, legally, but it also taught you how to value the culture and the differences from all over the world. Because I don't know about the hotels that anyone else worked at, but the hotels that I've worked at, we spoke over 40 different languages, representing 50 different countries. You didn't have to try to learn about culture. You were immersed in it. And so that led me in my HR career. And after that, I went to banking and then into education and a nonprofit. And I've been just very passionate about recruitment and training specifically in the HR realm. And what I did with that was I started a company called Cofino Consulting, where I basically was originally going to do that for my retirement years, but due to a few things like COVID, the economy, and job eliminations, I fast tracked it a little bit and have been doing contracts with that. which has been a great thing to be able to kind of just expand what I want to do in the future. But on top of that, I was honored by being given the title LinkedIn Top Voice by LinkedIn. All the shows I've done for the last 5, 10 years and everything I've done on LinkedIn for 18 years really has been to give back. People have helped me out through my career and they didn't have to. So that's why I just keep on doing live shows, audio rooms, sharing about the workplace wellness I do with Samana Jetty, talking about careers, chaos, and coaching that I do with Melissa Houston, the Social Saturday chat group I do for networking, or when I invite leaders and CEOs to talk to me one-on-one about the future of work, and I do that quarterly. All that is just to help people learn more about the workplace. And that's been one of my passions that I want to keep on doing in the future. And hopefully, the last 10 years, I've built some credibility to be able to charge as I have Covino Consulting grow. I don't need to prove who I am. I've hopefully established that. And then finally, the part that doesn't go with all the rest is I am an author. I was a co-author in 2 professional books published by Nick and Guy, but I did a 3rd book, which was a children's book, and it was dedicated to my daughter. It was called Backyard Adventures with Miranda and Max, and it was a story that my daughter told me when she came inside, and it was so like her imagination just blew up, and I'm like, that'd be a fun kid story, but I was never gonna write it. Fast forward 25 years, and I wrote it. AI helped me with some of the stuff as far as how to get some of the illustration that I couldn't do myself. And now I just am finished up. I was telling Lauren, I just finished up the illustration for the 2nd book of Brady and Lucky the One-Eyed Cat. So these are stories that as a father, I want to give to my kids, but hopefully my kids will tell it to my grandkids, and there'll be stories that they keep on telling even when I'm not here. And for me, it's also a chance for kids to remember, put down the electronics and go outside and use your imagination. Have fun. So
yeah,
up there.
I love that. You're an author and an illustrator. And one of the best things I think we can do is buy these books from Felipe and go donate them to your local library. Let's get them into the libraries where kids can check them out, kids can read them, families can experience these stories. Yes, he's writing them for his children, but they're for everyone.
One thing I love is, I don't know if you have them by your area, but in neighborhoods they have random books standing up, like book standing bookshelf, if you will, that people put free books in there. And every time I see when I throw one in there, nothing gives me more pleasure when I walk by there and I see that it's gone. I'm like, oh, someone took it. I'm so happy. So
yeah, we have 2 in my neighborhood. They're called like My Little Libraries or something in my neighborhood, but there's one on each side of the neighborhood. And then there's also one for pets, so people can put pet stuff in there too, which I thought was really cute.
Well, I'll send some copies of the book as a thank you for having me on your show, and so you can put them in there.
Awesome. And then after the show, make sure you drop some links so people know where to get all of your stuff. All right. We have some comments, but if you haven't let us know yet, please tell me where you are joining us from. Felipe, where are you joining us from today?
I am joining us from the state of Maryland, just about 3 miles outside of Washington, D.C. Right by NIH, if anyone knows where, here's by NIH sometimes.
The one place I've never been that I really, really want to go see the cherry blossoms. I got to make that happen.
I took my dog down this year and we had some fun.
That's awesome. All right, y'all. We are going to cover 4 major topics today. If you want to know, we're going to talk about introducing hospitality and interviewing. You heard Felipe talk about his hospitality background. I did not work in HR in hotels, but I did work in hotels. I worked for Marriott. Felipe worked for Hyatt for a long time. I worked with Mr. Marriott directly. I worked with Arnie Sorensen directly. I worked with Mr. Marriott's whole family when they would come in. So I got a little bit of up close and personal information from him, and really, really understand what it's like to not just take care of your employees, but to really take care of people in that interview process. So we're going to talk about that in the live show today. We're also going to talk about AI and if it is representing you or misrepresenting you in your job search. So we're going to get into all the nitty gritty. AI is a huge buzzword right now. Can it help you? Can it hurt you? What's really happening? We're going to dig in. We're going to talk about the competitive value of employee branding. It's not just the logo that you created in Canva. It's a lot more than that. And then we're going to get into leadership actually getting results using their EQ. And is EQ more important than IQ? That's a question I'm going to ask Felipe later on. So stick around. All of those things are happening. Let's see. We got some more people in the comments, and I want to acknowledge all of you who have showed up. So thank you so much. My mother is here. Your mother will always be your biggest fan. My mom joined LinkedIn just to watch this show. Thank you, Mom. We got Anthony Allen from Texas. Chrissy said, hey again. Yes. Gregory here. Gregory's in the house. Canada's here. Gregory's going to come on the show. We're going to have a whole episode about neurodivergency and what that entails in the job search and in interviewing and in your workplace and how you can be more open to that. So bookmark the show, follow along. Gregory's going to come on live in the future. Oh, look, Jason sent out your book and the families loved it.
Well, I'm going to send him more books. I want to donate him because he does a lot of work with nonprofits, and the idea for him to give more books because he does so much amazing work. If people aren't following, check it out. And I gotta say, I love that your mom follows you. My mom follows me and gets on LinkedIn too, and she's like one of my biggest fans. What amazed me was I had someone that I've known LinkedIn for a long time. Her name's Maria Olson. She's like, "Hey, by the way, can you forward this to your mom? She's one of my biggest fans. I always appreciate her." I'm like, Mom, you're getting messages from my friends on LinkedIn here. So I love that she's gotten that, and she's 94 years old.
I think you have to have my mom's email to connect with her. She like made that setting, and all the people who watch my show and see my mom, they're like, we can't connect with your mom.
Intentional.
I really quick, Chris Jarvis, I think I'm going to be in Nashville this summer, so make sure we connect when I'm there. I was there last summer. I should have connected with you then, but I think I'm coming to Nashville this summer. So please, let's make sure we actually meet in person. And then Meryl says that they also have 2 little free libraries within 5 blocks of their neighborhood. Yes. Very, very cool. It's so important for kids to read and not just on a tablet and actually pick up a book and turn physical pages. So I love it. Let's contribute. If you see a little library, donate a book. What? Oh, that's so awesome. All right, let's get into our first topic of the day because we don't have long. We only have an hour, which will go so much faster than you all think. We're going to talk about introducing hospitality in interviewing. And this isn't just in hospitality careers, right? This is something that every single company should be doing. Felipe, you gave us these 4 topics today. I'm going to let you take it away. And then I definitely have some points that I want to point out later on. But I'd love for you to take it away and talk about how companies can really get good at this and make it part of their everyday process.
Thank you, Lauren. This topic about hospitality, I told you all that hospitality taught me a lot. And one of the things that I think the value of bringing hospitality into interviews is because you want people to present themselves in the best way. You want to see the best version of them during the interview. And when you have them so nervous because you're intimidating or because it's such a dark room or a cold room, you're not going to see the best version of who you're talking to. And one thing that I've always learned is with hospitality, when people, they taught us at least, when they come into a hotel, you're welcoming them into our home. So make them feel warm, make them feel welcome, make sure that you would treat them like you would treat someone in your own home because this is their home away from home. And so I took that same concept when I was in hospitality, when I interviewed, saying, I'd welcome people. I'd have the applicants like, would you like some water while you wait? I'd bring them out bottled waters. Just do things to put them at ease, let them know, hey, there's not a monster on the other side waiting for you. Given there have been times when I've walked past an applicant, I'm like, hi, how are you? And they're like, huh. And then I come back out like, hi, I'm your interview. Let's come in. And applicant's face is like, oh, crap. So, but it goes to show you that a smile goes a long way. And so by doing those things, you're also representing the company. You're also setting the tone for what it's like to work there. And if you need to attract top talent, which is not easy nowadays, you want to sit there and make your workplace look attractive. And so having hospitality during the interview process, during the whole, when I say the interview process, I mean, not just with you, but ensuring that other people that interview have a similar feel of, hey, show them what it feels like to work here. Let them see the good, the bad, and the ugly, but let them know that, hey, we do it with care, with fun, and a lot of hard work. Because hospitality was some of the best years of my life, and it was because of the people. And it taught me that a strong culture can lead to success. So when you're interviewing people, and you see the people that have that desire to be hospitable, not just with clients and guests, but with their coworkers, that's that special DNA that we would look for. When I went into banking, the CEO interviewed me. He's like, why would I hire a hospitality person into banking? I said, because first of all my HR skills transfer over. But besides that, I think banking could use a little hospitality. And he's like, why? I'm like, well, when you're at a hotel, do they carry your luggage? Yeah. Do they take you up to your room? Yeah. Do they bring your food, make your bed, wash your towels? Yeah. They treat you like a king. Well, at a bank, they trust you with all their money. They're saying, I'm going to leave all my money with you and walk away and trust that you're going to keep it safe. We should be rolling out the red carpet for them because they are trusting us with that much money. But yet we treat them like a number. And so with that, he was impressed. And all the training I did for sales and service included hospitality of everything from making sure you welcome them as soon as they walk in the door. Sounds like a Walmart greeter, but it wasn't. To ensuring that you asked about their day and how they were doing as a person. All of a sudden, you started hearing all these great stories from our members at the credit union. And my favorite story about it that shows how the hospitality worked was I was at, I'll call it out, I don't give a crap. I was at Capital One Bank where I have an account there too. And I was there doing something for my mother because we have a joint account and I was helping her with something. And I hear this woman complaining, saying, you know what, I'm going to move my money to that bank up the street because they are much better service than you all are. This is ridiculous. When I walk in there, they say hello to me. They ask me who I am. They carry me as a person. I'm hearing these key words. And so as she's waiting, I go, ma'am, just curiosity, what bank are you talking about? That sounds like a great bank to bank at. Oh, and she mentioned where I worked. I went back and told my CEO that story, and he was ecstatic. But it's one of those things that showed you that they were treating her like a number, and there we treat her like a person. When you interview people and you bring that hospitality in, it shows, wow, this is a place where I can really do what I do best, and I can really feel comfortable working here. So, and then the other part about the interview process is the communication. In hospitality, you learn to keep people updated, let them know. One of the big things that we learned was don't let them know, oh, it'll be there soon. Give them a time period, because soon to you might be 1 minute, to me it might be 15 minutes. So hey, we'll be there in 10 minutes. Well, that communication with applicants in the interview process, saying, hey, we're gonna get back to you by this Friday or by next Friday. If I haven't called you by 12 noon on Friday, call me. I will not ever judge you for it. And not only that, I'll answer your call. And I say 12 noon because that still has time in the day to catch up if I haven't called them by 12 noon. But that's hospitality. That's showing people. And then taking a step further, when I hire them, I would send everyone, and I do this every place I work at, I send them a getting to know you form. Yes. And I learn hospitality. And it's like, tell us about your favorite food, music, snack, artist, sports, hobby, and all this stuff. And every new hire would get a welcome basket. Now, it would have like 3 or 4 swag things from the company, but the rest was customized to Oreos, Doritos, kombucha, whole milk, Pepsi, whatever the person liked, their favorite sports team, little like cup or something like that. And the looks on their faces, it wasn't like, oh, wow, we got a nice little basket. It was like, oh, wait, I love those. Wait, that's customized to me. And the shock on their face, and it shouldn't be a shock. It's just they see me. They see who I am. So that's one of the things I think that hospitality taught me, that when you're bringing somebody into the interview process, into that beginning stage of the workplace, it is so crucial to make them see the good and be honest about the bad. And why are you going to make it intimidating? It's already intimidating for them to come and interview. You already have the upper hand. Why are you going to make it even more intimidating? Now, there's a thing to be said that as you move up to higher positions, like executive positions, do I expect you not to be nervous? Yes. Do I need to put you at ease? No, I shouldn't have to. Am I still going to be hospitable? Absolutely. Because
it's so important.
I want it to reflect who we are as individuals and as a company and as a brand.
No, I think that's so important. I know your experience wasn't with Marriott, but Marriott's slogan is take care of your employees, they'll take care of your guests, and they'll come back, right? Take it one step further and put that into the interview process. Your culture is how you're remembered, right? And the culture starts the second somebody walks into interview. When I worked for Marriott, one of the leaders would give you a tour, and there would specifically be dirty napkin on the floor that you were going to step over. And they were going to see, are you going to bend over and pick it up to throw it out? Or are you going to step over and leave it there? And it was so curious to me because I picked it up automatically. That's just my nature, right? I want to leave everything better than I found it. And it wasn't even a second thought to me. Picked it up, shoved it in my pocket, and kept going on that walk. And when I got back to the interview room, they were like 10 out of 20 people don't pick up that paper. They don't think about it. They don't even doesn't cross their mind. To me, it was like so simple. Like, well, duh, your guests are here. They're gonna see this, right? That's so important. And then the other
do the same thing. In your home, you pick up that napkin, wouldn't you?
Right, you're not gonna just step over it and leave it a mess. It's your home, you're inviting people into your house. And then the other point that you mentioned that I think is so important is when you work with people who have that same mindset. I didn't work for hotels forever. The 24/7 lifestyle didn't work for me ultimately, right? But I remember I live in Florida. We would have days where it's hurricane and horrible, and they're like, "No, you gotta come in." Like, we work at a hotel, we don't close. And I would drive in and I wouldn't feel any type of resentment for going in because I knew the people that were gonna be there to support me had the best mentality. We were gonna make the best of whatever situation we were put in, and I was gonna have fun at the end of the day. I always remembered that the job might have been hard, but the job was fun, and I wanted to go back. I wanted to be there. And then getting out of hotels was also like a culture shock for me because, as you mentioned, like in banking, it's not something that other companies really think about or prioritize all the time. So I think it's so important that as leaders, we really are thinking about how can we make this experience great from the get-go. And a lot of that is managing expectations, which is something else you spoke about, right? Soon to you is not soon to me. Those things are very different. So concrete answers and concrete times and dates and letting people know it's okay to reach out to you. I just think that the hospitality industry as a whole, not that many people are as trained in it as they should be, and they don't realize how often they can take those skills to other places too.
And I gotta say, one thing else that hospitality taught me that I thought was an HR concept was I was taught when employees come in, you drop what you're doing and give them your full attention. And it's that hospitality mentality. Guest walks up, you drop what you're doing, give them their full attention. It's respectful, it's professional. It's not so much an HR thing that I realized over the years. Some HR people don't have that. I think HR people could benefit a lot from a little hospitality training. And so
Yeah, for sure. It seems like our viewers agree. Chris says when an interviewer says when they'll get back and they do, it's appreciated. It's something that seems so simple, but you don't want to be treated as a number. You want to be treated as Chris Jarvis, and you want the same respect that you show those people.
even
Gregory
if
says,
that we're not going to hire you, give them the respect of that answer.
yeah, Gregory says this is why Glassdoor exists. I got a fun fact: 82% of your candidates are on your Glassdoor before they're even interviewing with your company, and 60. I wrote it down so I didn't say the wrong number. 63% say that if you have a bad rating, they won't even apply. They just don't even click on the apply link. So think about that. You want to bring on the people who are going to represent your brand the best way. I don't think those people are applying if you have a horrible, horrible reputation online. We'll get more into that later, but people depend on you. If you leave, they will figure out if you don't care about them. Loyalty is something we can learn from. Yes, yes. You got more people showing up. Look, all of your friends are coming in. I love this. And yes, they are transferable skill set. It's so important to remember. So important. Hi, Cooper. I was taught white glove treatment from working with retail. Exactly. Even if somebody's irate, you don't know what they had going on in their day. Kill them with kindness.
Yep.
And my mother agrees with you, Felipe. Full immediate attention. And she did this for a long time, not in hospitality, but if she agrees with you, then you said the right thing.
All right.
Awesome. I think that the art of hospitality is lost, even sometimes in the hospitality industry, right? I think I don't know about you, but I go out to eat or I go to a hotel these days and I still feel like a number. I still feel like I'm just paying the check and where's my tip or whatever the situation may be. So it's a lost art form. And if you're watching today, if you just spend 5 or 10 minutes trying to implement some of these practices, even if you're the interviewee, right? Like, be hospitable, show up with a smile no matter what you've got going on, no matter how that person on the other side of the camera or room treats you in that moment. Be the person that leaves the room better than it was when you walked in.
And and hospitality is one of those things where they are still, they're the ones who taught me to keep on being innovative, keep on looking for new opportunities. Because what we used to do for upscale service 20 years ago, today it's expected. That's not upscale. That's just expected. So you have to keep on thinking of how can we up our game to level up service and hospitality. And I think that's the challenge of the ones that are still standing strong. They're staying innovative and getting creative, not just AI wise, that is part of it, but also on how they're making people feel.
Yes. You just segued us right into our next topic, which is AI representing you correctly in your job search. I know a lot of us are using AI for a lot of different things. I know a lot of people use AI specifically for resumes and tailoring things and making their LinkedIn seem more professional or appropriate or whatever it might be. But is it actually representing you? Felipe, what do you think?
It depends. And Melissa and I are going to be talking about this on our show on Sunday in great detail, because you've all heard it before. AI should be used as a tool. You shouldn't have it replace you. Now, easier said than done for some people. Some people are like, write a cover letter that says that hits on all the skills they're looking for, and send my resume. And you send that over to them, and they're like, "Oh, this looks great. Let me call Joe in. Joe, I love your experience, loved your cover letter. Tell us, give us some examples of when you did rewrite the code for this and how it worked." Oh, well, I don't have an example. Yeah, because Joe lied. And so AI is giving people that false confidence of, oh, let me get a job and I'll fake it and I'll figure it out later. I'll get AI and YouTube to teach me. Yeah, you know what? They're going to figure that out in the interview process. If
For
they
sure.
don't, they probably deserve that. So go ahead. But they're going to figure that out. All right. That first interview might be just to figure out, the small things. Are you okay with pay, the hours? Are you good fit? Do you have any questions? But that second or third interview, they're figuring out, can you back up what you say you know? And it's unfortunate that it's happening more and more, that people are hiding behind AI and they're having AI write code and sending it in an example. But you know what? You can't speak to it intelligently. They're going to see right through it. And so I always encourage people that use AI for drafting. Draft all you want with AI, but then go through with a fine tooth comb and take out the words that you never use, correct things that are wrong, put some of yourself in there, make sure that sorry, that's my dog Copper. Put some of yourself in there so people can hear your voice, because AI is not going to speak like you do. Now, as time goes on, AI might learn a little bit more of how you speak and how you write, and that's fine, but it's still not going to be 100% as good as you. So make sure, I always say, at least in the first paragraph of that cover letter or whatever you're writing, make sure that you put real specific writing of your own style in there. And then if you want to let AI polish it up for grammar and spelling, great. But AI has got a lot of benefits to helping you search for jobs, helping you see, hey, compare this job description to my resume. How many skills do I match and how many am I missing? It gives you a good idea. Oh, wait, I can definitely learn these two, and be honest about that and say, hey, I have all these skills. These two, I know I could learn very easily because I've been exposed to ABC. There's so much opportunity, but the moment that AI makes it seem or implies that you know how to do it, right there, you've already lost the job.
Amen.
And that's why faking it until you make it. I don't know where that came from. I want to say it came from acting. And in acting, great, because you are faking it in acting. You're pretending to be something else. but in the rest of the world, it doesn't really apply.
Yes. One of the ways, because I work with a lot of job seekers in what I do, and I always tell people you need to have some good hero stories, right? But you don't need to have 500 of them. I use AI and I will literally have somebody give me their hero story, one or two things, and we will put that into, I use Perplexity, we'll put that into Perplexity. And then I'll say, give me the most 5 common interview questions for this role. And let's figure out how to work these 2 stories or these 3 stories into answers for these questions. Because you're giving it an answer or a story of something that you did. It's not making up something completely at all. And then the other thing I always think people need to know is you can tell your AI not to agree with you. A lot of them will just gas you up and make you feel like you're the smartest, best person in the room, but you want it to challenge you and you want it to disagree with you and you want it to help you think of, is this actually the best answer I could give? So ask it to challenge you. Ask it to, if there's a better way for me to tell this story, what are 3 key factors that I could do to make it more impressive to a hiring manager? And then, like Felipe said, pull out those words and like I literally will tell, I would never use, and I'll have a list of words. It's like in my notes, and I'll just drop in all of these words. Somebody said, here we go. People can tell when you use AI, favorite word is intersection, right? I would never do that. And it's just obvious when some people use it too often. It sounds like a robot. It sounds like a robot.
Does. But your point that you shared is brilliant because that is something that I've used it. I encourage other people to do. Is I'll take a job description that I got an interview for, and I'll say, come up with some questions I might be asked, and I say, make them tough questions. Yes, Copper's agreeing. Yes, make them tough questions. Poke holes through my answers. Be disagreeable, like you said. But when I get those questions, I'll type in answers, and I'll be sloppy about it. I'll type in answers. Well, I've done this. I've done this. I've done this. I'm like, all right, polish this up and help me come up with an easier way to answer this based on what I just said. And that's where it'll save time. It'll help me find a better way to say it and phrase it, and I can practice that. And it's not fake. I did that. I'm just saying it in a very more concise way. And I think that's really important to remember because AI should be used. AI is going to be used, and if you don't learn how to use it, you're going to be left behind. And so it's important to use it. Just don't let it replace you.
Yeah. We still have to have critical thinking. We still have to have unique thoughts. We still have to show up as ourselves. And the other thing is when you show up in an interview and you don't sound like the version of you on paper, it's very obvious. Or as I talked with Richie last week, it's not on paper, it's a PDF or whatever it is now, right? But you don't sound like you. And when you start talking to someone, they can immediately tell. Immediately. And sometimes that's the thing that doesn't get you the job. That you didn't represent yourself correctly on your resume or in the initial phases of the interview process, and you get to the 3rd or 4th round, and it's like, this person isn't really worth their weight.
Yep.
So, all right, I love this last one. AI has no feelings or emotions.
Absolutely true.
Absolutely true.
That's along with critical thinking. It doesn't have empathy. It doesn't have compassion. There's a lot of things that they have not invested in yet with AI. So those human qualities, they're becoming even more valuable than ever in the future. And the more you hide them behind AI, the less people are going to realize how valuable you are.
Exactly. So don't hide behind it. Use it to your advantage. Use it correctly. And don't use it so much that you lose who you are. Make sure that at the end of the day, Lauren's showing up first or Felipe showing up first, and that the AI is just something that's polishing you to help you look the most presentable that you possibly could and the most prepared. But you still have to be able to answer to the stories. You still have to be able to have the conversations, to be hospitable, to not just ramble on and on. You have to know when to stop, when to pause, all of those things. And AI can't teach you that.
And one thing AI, and this is kudos to AI, AI is a learning machine. It is going to learn about you and your style, to the point where I was writing a professional cover letter, and I said, just check it for grammar and spelling. I said, and like, all good. I hear the corrections. would you like us to write it in Felipe style and add a little more humor? I'm like, no, 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 no. But it's funny how it was recognizing probably stuff that I put in there that was humorous, that maybe just knows I'm not, I was a little bit more professional than I normally am. And that's a good thing that recognizes it, but also can put you in a false sense of security of, oh, it knows me now. No, you are still the best version of you.
Amen. I think we'll leave it with that. You are the best version of you. All right, we're more than halfway through. It doesn't even feel like it. All right, next we're going to get into the competitive value of employee branding. Bigger companies do this pretty well most of the time. Smaller companies, companies that are just getting out and learning, some need some work. But I think that the competitive value of this is it's not just your logo, it's not just your brand, it's not just your slogan, right? It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. It's how people think about you when they're thinking about, do I want to refer my friends to work here? What do you think?
No, to me, I don't think I gave branding enough credit. I used to think it was just the logo. Oh, put the logo everywhere. That's branding. If it has a logo, it's branded. I realized it's not like branding cattle. That's not what. And I think it's one of those things where what I realized, I went to the first bank I went to work at was very toxic and very bad. And when I asked for stuff to promote jobs, they gave me their normal marketing material that they use for regular marketing, which didn't really resonate with people, but I used it because it had our logo on it. Then I went to this other place where I became a VP. And when I got there, within a month, I'm like, you all do so many great things in this place for the employees. Hold on, Copper. We do so many great things for your employees. Why don't you let the rest of the world know about this? Because I think it would attract people to come work here. Oh, we don't have time. We don't have time. Like, do you mind if I take it on? Because one thing that, tapping into your skills, I love photography. I have a passion for it. I'm that person that's always taking pictures. So, like, let me take pictures. And do you mind if I post it on LinkedIn? Oh, go ahead. If anyone doesn't want their picture posted, I made sure everyone told me if you didn't, I wouldn't do it. I respected that. And I started realizing that people I interviewed started seeing those pictures, say, hey, y'all can have fun. I want to come work there. Well, then I started saying, okay, well, let's do some videos of things that we do. And that's worked. And then I started saying, well, let's interview the employees. And what's good Wednesday? What's going good for you Wednesday? And it was a 3-minute interview with them of just real quick, what's going good with you this Wednesday, personally and professionally. And we did it every week for a year. And that was on YouTube. And then we started doing Hot Wings challenge. Have you ever seen the Hot Wings challenge before? And so they could only want to challenge me because I couldn't handle the heat. Being Latino, I used to be able to, but I gave up hot food for a while. Well, we were doing these videos of the employees talking about credit history and how to manage your credit, or how to get a loan, or buying your first car or house, as we did these Hot Wings challenges was the conversation. So it was educational and fun. When I interviewed people, for the last 4 years, I would say, you know what? You don't know me, I don't know you. So I can tell you this is a great place to work. I can tell you that we have a lot of fun, but I could be lying. So as I talk about it, I'm going to show you some of these little clips, and I would share my screen and like, so when we do employee events like this one, and as the video is showing, I'm talking about it. When we do this is how we volunteer. Here's how we did give back. This is when we did training. And this is us doing chef videos or hot one videos. When I realized the power of that, it ripple effect. It started off with, I wasn't worried when I got off the interviews of like, oh God, I hope they pick us. They're like, I want to work there. So, but point mark 1 was yay for that. Point 2, people started talking about it more. 3, people that worked there stayed longer because they enjoyed working there. So our turnover reduced. And the more and turnover, by the way, for you all, people used to think it was like 30% of the salary. I mean, for entry-level roles, it's less, but for mid-level roles up to the executive, it's 1.5 times your salary is what typical turnover costs. So if you're making $100,000 a year, it costs $150,000 to find someone, replace you, train them, get them up to speed to where you were. That's expensive. And but it also time to fill. It used to take us 3 months to fill jobs. It was taking us 10 days to 2 weeks to fill jobs because we were getting more candidates and better qualified candidates. People were talking about the video. So this branding of employee branding, not just marketing branding, but employment branding, showcasing where you work, showcasing that we practice the values and showing them how you have fun, how you help out the community, and how you train your team to learn and grow. That brought so much value. And we also did wellness programs. This was a huge one. The wellness programs, the results of the wellness program, I won't go into great details of how it worked, but at the end of year 2, 5 people had lost over 100 pounds, 7 people quit smoking, 2 people were no longer diabetic, and 3 were no longer taking high blood pressure medication, and 5 people avoided surgeries because they caught things early. That was like, the wellness program wasn't a success because we saved money on our premiums and all that. It was because of that. When I shared those stories, boom, it was like, you care about your employees and you incentivize them to focus on their health and not just your mental, but your physical and your financial. So when people say part of our brand, like you said, hospitality, our employees are part of our brand. They love that. Other companies don't always value that. I always challenge. If I see your mission statement and you don't mention your employees, I question how much do you value your employees. And there's a lot of mission statements out there that do not mention their employees. But guess what companies do? Hospitality.
Yeah. Hospitality companies have been doing it right for a long time. I am seeing other companies evolve a little bit more into this, right? I think that companies are realizing how important this is, but I think that they don't all know how to do it correctly. So watching things like this, learning from companies who've been doing it for a long time, that's important. I also want you to know, when you brought up the hot ones, everybody's excited about hot wing challenges. Like, maybe we need to start doing that on this show. I would like sweat and die, but I would be willing to do it once to see if I could if I could hang.
You can find my videos on my YouTube channel if you go to there. So yeah, it's I have the cooking videos and the hot ones videos on there. It's kind of scary.
Somebody did mention your cooking videos. I'll have to check those out. Chasen says it's super expensive, and the impact on your team and your customers is something that needs to be considered. A lot of people don't realize it's not just internally the time to fill and the uncertainty from the people on the team, right? When somebody's gone, it provides a little bit of uncertainty, a little bit of like, oh, I don't have that wonderful like gut feeling that this is going to work out, but also, how is it affecting the customers on the opposite end? I think this is a really, really good point, not even one that Felipe and I were thinking about in that moment, but your customers are really affected when there's a shakeup on the team, and they don't even understand why, right? Like, we're not telling our customers so and so quit or we're replacing this role. That's not, or if you are, you should not be. Let me just say that. But that's not something that your customers should be privy to. But your customers feel it on the opposite end as well. They know they're not getting the treatment or the same service or whatever it was, right? Gregory says, mic drop moment for you.
Oh, thank you, Gregory. But no, you made a great point there, Lauren, because for so many people, when they have that moment in hospitality or in any company, obviously, it's the ripple effect that you mentioned right there. Basically, when an employee is missing that person that left, like you said, they're worried, but they're also working harder, probably working overtime, getting burnt out. And then when they sound tired over the phone to the customer, like you said, if they don't share what's going on and they're just trying to be professional, the customer translates that, well, I'm just getting bad service now because they don't know. And so it's that ripple effect of take care of your employees, go take care of your customers. It's such an easy equation. It's basically 1 + 1 = 2. It's so amazing how many people don't understand that simple equation.
And you think they would. You think they wouldn't want to spend $150,000 to go replace that $100,000 employee. But in the moment when things are happening, I don't think senior leadership's always thinking about that number, right? Sometimes it's other things and there's a million moving parts going on at once. And I recognize that and I understand that. But at the same point, your employees need to feel safe. I think that that's a word that's not used enough lately. Your employees want to feel safe. They want to feel like this is their home. They want to feel like you care about them. They probably spend more time with you than their actual family, depending on the job they have. So being able to provide that almost security blanket, right? It's important. It's important for the longevity. It's important for your retention. And then how many times are you actually having exit interviews or stay interviews? I talked to Richie about that last week. A stay interview is important to understand why people are staying or what they want in their career. So are you doing these things and what do they look like on the other side?
And I recommend doing stay interviews. I do them twice a year, every 6 months. The employees actually want them more frequently. I'm like, I love you guys, but reach out to me and just let's do a one-on-one whenever you want. But but it goes back to that, and I know we're going to talk about that next. But it goes into the emotional intelligence of that leader, realizing, hey, if I invest a little bit of time in this employee and they get better, that's a lot less time and money spent than getting rid of them. But unfortunately, leaders sometimes don't like conflict. And I'm sorry, but if you're a leader, your part of your job is to be able to address issues professionally and respectfully, or else don't be a leader, because leader is not just a title, it's a responsibility. And for me, when a leader sits there and understands that accountability is not a four-letter word, it's actually a way to help you get better, just deliver it with some respect.
It shouldn't be that hard, but it is. And look, you segued us again into our next topic. I love this. This is so perfect. I don't have to be like, and now, perfect. All right. So, we're going to get into leadership actually getting results by using their EQ. EQ is your emotional intelligence, right? So, if you were wondering what EQ was, I hope none of you are, but if you were wondering, it's the emotional intelligence that you're bringing to the role, right? I'm to the point now with AI and all of the tools out there, Claude, you can name a million of them, right? I don't think your IQ is going to necessarily be as important as your EQ moving forward. I think we're going to have the capability to learn things a lot faster. We're going to be able to check ourselves quickly. I can do in an AI like Perplexity something that used to take me hours to figure out in Google and multiple research. And I can ask AI to cite it, give me the links, let me know, and then, yeah, I go do my research and I check it because AI can be wrong. People like, let's say that really quickly. But I think EQ is gonna be more important these days. What about you?
Absolutely. IQ, you can't change your IQ. From studies that I've researched, your IQ it is what it is all your life. Your EQ, you can your EQ can increase. It can get better because that is part of awareness and education. And to me, one of the things that I do with all leadership roles that I post, I always put in there for the last 4 or 5 years now. One of the requirements, not preferred, I started off with preferred, now it's a requirement, must be able to display emotional intelligence in the workplace. And in the interview, I asked them, give me an example of when you displayed emotional intelligence in the workplace. One, it makes sure it tells me that they understand what emotional intelligence is, and if they give me a good example, I know that they practice it. Hopefully, but what the example we just had before is when someone is having a problem at work, whether they're becoming a problem child or maybe they've always been great, but all of a sudden out of the blue they're messing up. That emotional intelligent leader is going to say, let me figure out what's going on here. Let me ask some questions. The unemotionally intelligent leader is going to react emotionally and be like, I don't have time for this. If you can't do the job, get out of here and leave. And those leaders are so much fun to coach as an HR person. Let me just tell you. One of the most powerful things I told a leader one time, I said, do you realize how much you're paying everyone here to worry? Like, what do you mean? You're paying them to worry because they're not doing their job. They're all talking about how you're acting and that they're afraid about their jobs. They're talking about should they be applying for other jobs. They're talking about should they leave? Should they stay? What should they do? They've been talking about it for about 2 hours. That's 2 hours of productivity that you missed out on because you behaved the way you did. And it is one of those things where when people don't realize how they can come across, or they don't have their people around them, not just the HR leader, but their senior leaders, if you don't allow your senior leaders to have the courage and the emotional intelligence to tell you that you're wrong, you're not a strong leader. I need people to challenge me. I need people to tell me, I don't think that's going to come across right. I think I have a better idea. What do you think? And let's have a conversation. At the end of the day, I'm going to say, I heard everyone. This is what we're going to do. Everyone's got to support it 100%. But that emotional intelligence means that whether you're going through something, you're able to separate it and keep calm and not have other people pay for something bad that happened. Like, oh, you got in a car accident this morning. So guess what? Everyone's day is going to be horrible now because you had a car accident. That is not, it's a lack of emotional intelligence. All right. The opposite would be you got in a car accident. Yeah, it was upsetting. I don't want to talk about it, but let's just make the best out of today and let's move on. Somebody's like, you know what? I've had a car accident. Are you okay? Are you sure you don't need to go to the hospital? That's another emotional intelligent person checking on them to make sure when someone gets a car accident, you could be injured. Has anyone checked on this? Ask this question. That's not fluff, y'all. That's being just intelligent. Oh, you thought about the fact that they were in an accident and they could have gotten hurt, and then no one asked about how they are or if they need to go to the hospital. And a leader that does that builds trust, builds respect, builds loyalty, and they get talked about as a great leader all the time. Unfortunately, they don't get told that to themselves as much, which sometimes is okay because their ego doesn't get any bigger. But it is something that you see people talk about that leader. And when you hear someone talk so highly about a leader, that's the person I want to work for. That's why one last example of emotional intelligence is helping people grow on your team and seeing them leave and grow and succeed versus, no, they're too good. I can't lose them. I need to keep them. I'm going to stunt their career growth because of I need them. I mean, that's also selfish, but it's also just a lack of emotional intelligence. Be happy for people because the benefit of it is that people are going to say, hey, I want to go work for Felipe because he's always promoting people and I want to move up in my career. So I want to work for somebody who's going to help me get promoted.
Yes, I want to work for somebody who's going to help me get promoted all day, every day. And I think the other side of this is if you're in the job search, some questions you can ask to kind of understand somebody's EQ is how do they deal with conflict? How do they have hard conversations under pressure, right? How do they deal with feedback? All of those things are important. You mentioned being able to receive feedback as a leader and being able to have somebody challenge you. I'm going to go back to the very first thing we spoke about and say you can challenge people, but do it in a hospitable way. Do it politely. Do it with class. Don't just throw something in somebody's face and say you're wrong. Like let's make sure we're approaching it the right way. But being able to have these hard conversations is super important. We did get a question. Let me go back to do. We got a lot of comments. So Nicole said, "How do you each define EQ?" Nicole, for me, on top of self-awareness and social awareness, it's really about self-management and being able to understand your impulses and how you handle stress and how that affects other people and being able to kind of rein that in depending on the situation you're at. Felipe, how do you define?
Well, so very similar to what you said. And what I was going to say was one of the things for people that want to learn more about EQ and even about their own EQ, this is the book that I actually, it's probably backwards a bit, but it's called Emotional Intelligence 2.0 by Travis Bradbury and Gene Greaves. It's similar to, if you've all heard about Gallup Strength Finders, it's very similar style book to that. And it really kind of gives you a little test to answer questions and assessment, and it helps you really understand that. But for me, it's the ability to regulate your emotions, to know when you need to let them out, when you need to hold them in, when you can recognize emotions in other people, that you can see that they're displaying something different than normal, whether it's joy, grief, upset. It's being aware of how people might receive what you deliver, the way you deliver it. And I mean that in two different ways. Am I delivering it stern enough or am I delivering it too sternly? Am I being too fluffy or am I, and so it's thinking about it's just paying attention to those things and making it part of that project that you're working on, that you're checking all the boxes and making sure you think of everything. You kind of do the same thing with emotions.
I love it. And I definitely think that IQ is still important. Please don't say that Lauren said IQ doesn't matter because that's not what I said. But I think that at the end of the day, being able to work for someone with a high EQ is almost better than someone with a high IQ because they're going to understand you more as a human being, more as an employee. They're going to be able to connect with you outside of just that work bubble that sometimes that's the only relationship we have. And they're going to look out for your well-being ultimately because that's what they would want done for them. So search for leaders who have a high EQ. Try to find people who are going to be in your corner. I think it's so important. We have we have so many comments. I can't even put them all
No,
on the
respond
screen.
afterwards, I promise.
Yeah, we'll come back, y'all. But I want to pop out this one. Travis Bradbury is a superb follow on LinkedIn for emotional intelligence. I don't know if I follow Travis, but I'm going to go search as soon as this episode is over.
I didn't know you
And
were LinkedIn, so thank you, Meryl.
yes, and then this I sat with myself for 2 weeks during my EQ to measure what was triggering me, and it helped. And a lot of this is self-reflection and self-awareness too. So I love that. Empathy over numbers all day, every day. That's a mic drop moment right there. I love it. All right, y'all. We are like almost to the end of our hour. I can't believe it goes by so quickly. When we get on the show and we go live, and I feel like Felipe and I could just sit here and talk all day long, but we would definitely not have everybody watch us if we did a 24-hour live stream. I think an hour is about it for viewers.
Can I just say how, just besides how great and gracious you are as a host, your shows provide so much value to people. You provide education, you provide knowledge, and I think just represents you so well. It's a great professional way to help people out there that need it, and you've done that consistently. So you've created a great brand, and you do it very well.
Thank you so much. It was so hard for me when I took the time away from the show. And I knew when I got back on LinkedIn and I got back to posting that I really wanted to bring the show back because at the end of the day, yes, it's the Friday Live with Lauren show, but it's not about me. It's about actually helping people learn something new that maybe they haven't thought of, a new perspective. We've been taught and conditioned to think the way we think, and you have to be willing to open your mind to new things. And the show kind of does that. And then I want you people to laugh. I mean, your dog's been the diva moment. We need to have like a chair back there with your dog right there so your dog can just agree and nod. I think that would be hilarious. You said his name is Copper.
I want to start doing Copper clips because I share little bits of advice and have him sitting next to me because he loves the camera.
Yes. And then the last thing is I want people to be able to level up their career. I don't want you to ever feel stuck. I don't want you to ever feel like you have to stay in a job you hate. But I also want you to understand that just jumping to the next thing because you're unhappy in this moment isn't the right answer either. So, really being able to level up your career and be more well rounded is the point of this show. So, if you get any of those things out of it, please share the show. Please tell somebody else to watch. We go live every Friday at 3 for as long as I hope I can. And I bring on amazing people like, well, I'm pointing the wrong way, like Felipe each time. So, and if you want to be on the show, let me know. I want more people, more perspectives, more opinions. We all need to have conversation and be able to politely disagree if that's what happens, but be able to talk about what's going on. So thank you so much, Felipe, for coming on today. We're gonna do our very last topic, which isn't really a topic. This is just how we end the show in a fun way. But let's have a fun Friday fact, Felipe.
All right. I'm gonna give you a two for a Friday fact about me and a Friday fun fact that I just learned. One is that I have an excessive collection of shot glasses, over like 600 of them, and yeah, a girlfriend when I was 18 gave me one, and yeah, it just went downhill from there. But I have a nice case for the real nice ones because I got into real nice ones. But the other fun fact is, and people may know this, makes sense. The little sticker that you see on all your fruits, bananas, apples, pears, is edible. Did you know that?
I did not know that, but I have a banana fact too.
Oh, okay. Well, so there you go. So those little stickers are actually edible. I can't remember what they're made out of, but yeah, I got proven wrong.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah. So my work fun Friday fact is that you can only really be fully productive for about 2 hours and 53 minutes a day. The rest of those 8 hours, you're like pretending to open emails or whatever you're doing. You might be kind of productive, but like you won't have really just under 3 hours of full dedicated focus a day. So break it up the correct way throughout your day, right? Like don't use all of that time in the morning because then your entire afternoon is going to be garbage. Go for a walk after a 30-minute sprint. When you got something done, walk away from your desk, close your computer screen, let it charge, put all your screens down, touch grass. Those things are important. And then the other, my banana fact is that, did you know bananas are berries?
No, what?
And did you know strawberries are not?
I didn't know that strawberries were not. But how is banana? Okay, I gotta Google that one. That's what the hell.
So a banana is a berry and a strawberry is not. So there's your fun Friday fact from me. Felipe, this was so much fun. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. If you enjoyed it, share the show. We got more comments, but y'all, we are already over time. Well, Tom, yes, Tom, thank you so much. Fridays with Lauren. I'm so happy to be back.
Houston for connecting us, because like I say, we've known each other a long time, but Houston is that common connection that brought us together a long time ago, and kudos to her.
Kudos to Melissa. If y'all don't know Melissa Houston, when I was completely lost, I had like 300 connections on LinkedIn. I didn't know what I was doing. I needed to switch careers. Melissa and I connected, and she really helped me as a coach. And now we are best friends. We talk every single day, even though I live in Florida and she lives in Washington State. So, yeah, the weird calls we have when it's 4 a.m. for her and 7 a.m. for me. But thank you to Melissa. Go follow Melissa. And Felipe, this was so much fun. Any last words for the people?
No, just I always tell people to remind them to be confident in what you know, be curious in what you don't know, be grateful, be compassionate, and be tenacious as hell because you got this.
Yes, be tenacious. Y'all, you know what I always say? If you didn't like it, don't come back. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Adios.